This is another part of what portfolio really means, and I just put together a couple ideas. We can talk about it in class, but I wanted to put the video always 1 week ahead so you can see it, and then you know already what we're going to be talking about next week, so you can kind of mentally prepare yourself a little bit for it. And if you have anything to bring into the class, like good websites or so you have a little bit of time to write that down. So portfolio really is collection of your work, pretty much, and it shows what you have done in the past, but it's also for somebody that looks at it, it's the proof what you can do right now, and also it should be what you want to do in the future. So if I look for somebody who they are, that's my first impression. And usually hiring managers don't have much time to look through. If you have a dozen of applicants for, just when I put a job, I already get like 20, 30 of people that write to me. I don't want to spend hours on checking them out. So the first thing, I'll just Google the name and see if there's a website I can get to see their work. Resume, cover letters, not really that interested until I make a final decision. So if you don't pass that first bar of impressing me with that first impression, actually the picture here is my doctor, Dr. Dave, lives a block away from my house, and he does a lot of, I think his clients have tattoo removal. He's like very politically involved too, but if you see him on the right, first impression, he looks like a biker, has a Harley, hangs out with his like biker leather kind of friends. But when he was a doctor, he looks like that. You have a different kind of impression. So your portfolio is similar like that. You have like 2 seconds, 3 seconds to get that first impression. Okay, somebody said on the blog, it's called Design Reviews. They have a podcast where two designers, they're both kind of starting out, and I think so it's a good place to look for ideas and how they manage to do it. But they say that you're pretty much the worst client you could imagine when you do your own portfolio, because you want to work for free. Well, it's yourself. And then you have pretty much no idea who you are, because how could you? You cannot see yourself on the outside. And then you want to put everything in, because the scope is just huge of what you want to say, but you need to really reduce it down to the very few things you can have time to say. And then you change your mind all the time, because every time you see something cool, like, oh, I want to be like this, I want, like, especially when you're young, you don't really quite know where you're going to go yet. And then you don't have an anchor, no process, no deadline, for example, and nobody will ever tell you not to do it. So you're kind of swimming, or like you don't have a boundaries. So you need to develop some kind of process, and this is what this class is about too. It's kind of a good thing to have a deadline. This process to build your portfolio, it takes a lot of time, and it's continuously. You always like update your portfolio all the time. So do this not when you're looking for a job, because if somebody like you run into at a meetup and it's like, oh yeah, we have this position opening, would you be interested? And like, you don't have 3 months to do a portfolio to apply for this job. They need you right now, so you need to be ready at any point. That success isn't all talent. It's also being prepared in the moment. It's also a little bit of luck on who you run into. But if you meet that great person and you're not prepared, then you lost your chance. So yeah, this is the stupid quote from the pretty popular done is better than perfect. But you can set your own deadlines which are in this course. And so at least you have something to hold. At least you have something to show, and you don't have to make excuses. Never make excuses in an interview. And if you're looking, let's see, these pieces are the goals that you set. You want to be an illustrator. You put some illustration, but let's say there's an opportunity to do book covers, then you should have some typography examples in there. Or if you're a game designer, you want to have some background art, because that's maybe what they're looking for, or character designs. Or if you're a graphic designer, definitely want to have some branding examples or editorial design. It all depends on where you want to go. If this job comes up and it's a really great editorial design job, but all you have done is web design, you should have at least a little bit of an editorial example, so you can just throw that in the last minute. So you have to make these different pieces that you can bring, but they should almost be finished, or they should be definitely finished. And so at least you're done, maybe not perfect, but You don't have to make excuses. So you need to focus on what you're really good at. Don't show a lot of logo work if that's really not your thing. It's just because you think that's what they expect. But right now you mostly have spec work, like concept work. It's not real work. It will slowly replace with real work, like once you get clients and stuff. So of course it's better to show real work in the long run, because it's more of a proof of concept. But there are many things, especially in fields that you're trying to get into, where it's acceptable to do concept work, where you do an example just to show that you can do it. Of course, if you've never done it before, there's a big pitfall to maybe show that you actually have no idea what you're doing. But that's why you go into college for, so we can tell you to like polish that up and make it look good. So now you can get feedback before you walk into that interview, and people will pick on it and they'll see the slightest small mistake in there, and you might get a little bit defensive when they see it. So maybe you want to also ask some of your design heroes if they what they would think about your portfolio. It's not a bad way to get in touch with them, for example. I'm sure a lot of them will respond, and if not, it doesn't matter. And just don't take it personal. If you want to review what I said about how to give a good critique, that's in the Canvas resource module. Because if you ask like your family, they might say like, oh, it's nice, I like it, but it's not going to really help you that much. So you need to show it to people that are in the field that can evaluate better what people are actually looking for.